Hi, my name is Vanessa Lech. So I've got several updates to share. The first update I want to share are all the different things that are new. And I'm going to share the website hellovanessamedia.com. It's a pretty cool website. It's pretty snazzy. Super proud of it. There it is. It says I'm passionate about multimedia, and I definitely am. So this is like the mobile version, and the key, basically the menu is going to be on your right hand side on the mobile version, or in the center potentially. Anyways, but there's multiple ways to support now, so I'm going to go right there to that. And if you want to become a supporter and help spread the word about what I'm talking about, here's how you can become a regular supporter at the anchor.fm/Hello Vanessa Media. I've been talking a lot about that. You can click on that to find out more. You can go to Buy Me a Coffee. It's a website dedicated to helping create sustainable creativity and content for all. And there's no account needed, is my understanding, to do that. Or you can go to, and I'm so excited about this. I've been working on this for days now. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon. I thought it'd take months. I even said that on the last live stream, but it's it's happened. Okay, so basically my favorite products that I've put right at the front. Many of you have heard me talk about civil rights and how much I care about them. So I've got this mug right here. It's available in a whole bunch of colors, called Civil Rights Matter. This right here actually just came up with today, this artwork here. And basically it says, veterans are humans, veterans are patients, veterans have rights, veterans are not dollar signs. And I came up with that because I actually said those exact same words in an email today to Veterans Health Administration staff members who are again trying and succeeding in interfering with my attempts to obtain health care outside of Veterans Health Administration, even though I'm legally eligible to do so. So, more fun of dealing with the nightmare that is Veterans Health Administration. And so what I wrote to them was much more lengthy than just these words, of course, but I had to really shorten it down so it could fit on a blanket or a hoodie or what have you, a tank top. I couldn't just have an infinite amount of words. That wouldn't look good. Anyway, so I'm really proud of these. These are my favorite items in the store. That's for sure. These other items are this right here. I think about a lot, how whistleblower rights matter, whistleblowers matter in the federal government and at Veterans Health Administration, and don't receive the help that they need historically. So there's attention drawn to that, and it really is mind bending what they are doing to veterans and what I've been through myself, even as recent as today. I had fun designing the products in the store. This is really just the beginning. This is the launch. And so, as part of a thank you for taking part in that with me, I have a launch code where you will receive 20% off, and it's very limited time. It's only for the next number of days. And I will have the details of that in the description below, but it's very limited. So if you're interested and you're looking at this, I would do it right now. But this is another one of my favorite shirts right here, the veterans tank top that I put together. I love the neon yellow. It's a lot of fun. Even though it's winter right now in some areas, it's still warm enough to go outside and exercise, or to exercise inside, of course, where it's temperature controlled. So let's just say you want to get the white and extra large. Let's just pretend that. Size guide here if you need to see the sizes. I love that. It's pretty cool. And then I've got the description here, which I have on all the products. And this is what it says. And then it says, inspired from my experiences of past, current, and ongoing maltreatment and cruelty from Veterans Health Administration. Has some product details here. It's unisex. The products on the store are very inclusive. So it's something for, I believe, just about everybody that'd be interested. So you can add it to the cart, proceed to checkout right there, and then you click apply, and there it is. And so that would be the discount on that. And you can see right here, it's 20% discount. So that's the way it works, and then you just check out from there. There it is right there. LAUNCH promo code. All right. Store.hellovanessamedia.com. Okay. So let's see, 1520. All right, so Veterans Access to Direct Primary Care Act, it was introduced by Representative Rory, who is a Texas rep, it looks like. It was introduced on March 2nd of 2021. Now, you can actually sign up and get alerts about this if you're interested. I actually plan to do that because I would like to get some alerts. Now I'm scrolling down to basically all the actions that it has had on this bill, and not many, essentially. It seems that the veteran legislation that I'm following these days is dying in Congress, and it's really depressing to say the very least. I really feel strongly if these politicians, if it's their healthcare, they would be a lot more proactive about introducing legislation to benefit their own interests. That's for sure. Anyway, so you can see here March 2nd, 2021, introduced in House, action by House of Representatives. And then it says on the same day it was referred to the House Committee on Veterans Affairs by action by House of Representatives. And on April 27th, 2021 is the final depressing action. And since then, nothing's happened. And that is, it was referred to the Subcommittee on Health, action by Committee on Veterans Affairs. So this is the congress.gov website. You can find this information and just look it up yourself. I was tipped off about this bill when I was lobbying Congress for veterans legislation to improve veterans health care, essentially, and access to health care and empowering veterans to have a choice about their health care. I believe it would be very beneficial. I know I've been benefited by it as a veteran, that's for sure, I believe. So now we're on November 16th, 2021, and there's been no further action since this date whatsoever. I've called Congress, I've asked questions, and I tell you, the people that work in Congress, I don't feel are even know what's going on half the time. I really don't. It's depressing. And I feel like stuff, particularly related to veterans health care, goes and is referred to some subcommittee on health, and that's just where it dies. It just dies there, I feel like. So basically, to give you some context about why I care about this bill so much. So this I've mentioned in my other videos and podcasts, and basically is supposed to be like a 5-year pilot program that would give veterans that are eligible and others eligible in the military community access to a primary care provider outside of Veterans Health Administration if they choose to opt in for that. I would definitely be one of the ones choosing. Okay, for sure, right here, for sure. Um, and so that was like super exciting because primary care in America is basically the window for healthcare, of getting whatever healthcare you need, preventative, specialized, whatever. HR 6285, Veterans True Choice Act of 2020. So this was introduced by Representative, I cannot pronounce the name, so I'm just going to say W. Gregory. That's a representative in Florida, where I'm from. Very proud of that. Great state. Anyways, it was introduced March 13th of 2020, introduced in the House by House Representatives, as they all say. Then on March 13th, 2020, it was referred to the Committee on Armed Services, in addition to the Committee on Veterans Affairs, for a period to be subsequently determined by the Speaker in each case for consideration of such provisions as fall within the jurisdiction of the committee concerned. Action by House of Representatives. Then July 13th, 2020, depressingly, that was the final action. It was referred to the Subcommittee on Health. Action by Committee on Veterans Affairs. So it's identical to the other piece of legislation, and it's basically like the death knell, I feel like, when things regarding veterans health are being referred to the Subcommittee on Health. I mean, it is outrageous to me that it has been over a year and there's been no further action. So I'm not sure, quite frankly, if it died over at the Subcommittee on Health, these different pieces of legislation, or whether or not something else became of it. I have no idea. But I was told by the Congress, one of the congressional offices I was lobbying, that for change related to veterans healthcare, that basically that what you see here, like here on this website, congress.gov, is it. Like that's it. There's nothing else there. Okay. So if there's no other action, good or bad, then nothing happened. So I don't know how long things can just sit around and languish in Congress, but it feels like it could be an eternity. what's even more upsetting is I don't even know if there's a timeline in Congress of when they have to make a decision or if they can just forever ignore things. If they can forever ignore things, then obviously that's hugely upsetting because, they should have to make a decision for God's sakes. Okay, so the second piece of legislation would basically open up to eligible veterans and people in the military community, TriCare Select, to basically choose healthcare providers outside of Veterans Health Administration. And it appears that you would be like the veteran, based upon what I understand of it and the research I've done. The veteran, would be able to just basically opt out of Veterans Health Administration and just pick this healthcare plan, basically insurance plan, and just go get healthcare elsewhere. And Veterans Health Administration would no longer have any say so over my healthcare, which would be a welcome thing at this point. So these are the concerns I have about it, though, and these are and specifically this specific piece of legislation, and that is like how like would it be paid for? I mean, basically, my understanding of the legislation, based upon the research I did, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Veterans Health Administration would be required to pay for veterans' enrollment into TRICARE Select if they chose to do that, if the veteran did. But then the question becomes, well, what happens after that? Like, how are the bills paid? You've got veterans that have terminal illnesses that need hospice level care because they're dying. You've got veterans that have been poisoned by toxic exposures related to you name it in the military, that have various types of cancers, chronic health conditions, debilitating terminal illnesses that require radiation and chemotherapy and you name it, other types of treatments which I probably never heard of before. Those things are exceedingly expensive. And so my concern is, would this basically not even be possible to have as a viable option for those veterans, for veterans that just need, a lot of healthcare and stuff like that? I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. Now, the bill is written and actually can be read fully here. Summary and text, I do believe. I think I saw that. I would not be surprised if the bill is like a bazillion, and I mean like a bazillion pages. There it is. There it is. That's the whole thing. All right. And actually, I'm going to click on the PDF and see what I can find here. I'm just kind of curious to see. All right. So, okay. Actually, it's not as long as I thought it would be. So it says to amend, so HR 6285 to amend Title 10 United States Code to provide eligibility for TRICARE Select to veterans with service-connected disabilities for other purposes. And so my understanding is that if a veteran was eligible for this, they could not receive healthcare through the Department of Defense and through this simultaneously. And that's kind of weird to me. I thought that was interesting. So they call it the Veterans True Choice Act of 2020. And one of the things I'd like to bring up is that several things. Whenever you see me on a video or listen to me on a podcast, and there happens to be a veterans group or a veterans service organization of any kind whatsoever, or identifying themselves as such, I do not endorse, participate. I am not a member. I'm not encouraging anyone else to participate, endorse, or be a member of any veterans group or veterans service organization. I just want to make that very clear. And the reason I want to make that very clear is because all these different groups are stand for different things and are about different things. And every single one of these groups have supported like legislation and policies that I do not support or agree with at some point in time, every single one of them. I'm not a joiner, ironically, even though I joined the military twice. I know it may be crazy to think about, but like I'm not a joiner type. And so like I'm not going to join any veteran service organization or group, more likely than not. And I don't like endorse any of them. So any veteran service organization or group, veteran group, just know that like if they happen to be in an article I'm covering or happen to be, in some news story I'm covering or whatever the case, that's just a pure coincidence because they place themselves there to be a part of the conversation in American politics, not because I endorse them or I'm a part of that. So I just want to make that very clear. The other thing I want to make very clear is when it comes to legislation in America, unfortunately, money in politics is a huge thing. My understanding is the Supreme Court in America made a decision where money is considered free speech, essentially. And so the people that like have billions of dollars or more in this country can influence our policies more than someone like me that is actively involved in the democratic process because their speech is their cash and they have way more of it than I do. So, unfortunately, money is in politics, and there are a very like wealthy elite group of people in our country that are literally lobbying for countless bills, countless pieces of legislation that absolutely do impact the military community. And if I find that really alarming and disturbing because I don't think they're doing it for the betterment of our country. I think they're doing it for the betterment of themselves and their tax bill ultimately, and the way they see the world and what they want to have happen. And that's scary because they have more say than you or I do. And yet we have to live in this world too. So that in and of itself should be motivation to really get involved in our and really try to make it to where there's more equal footing and more people can actually be treated in a fair and equitable manner in this country instead of just the people that have all the money. It says the cost sharing requirements under TriCare Select for covered veteran beneficiaries shall be calculated pursuant to subsection. I don't even know what they're talking about, regardless of the date of the original enlistment or appointment of the beneficiary in uniform services. It's saying that basically people that are classified as dependents of a covered veteran, a veteran eligible for this TRICARE Select program, would not be eligible to enroll just because of by way of being their spouse. Okay. It says on page 4, a covered veteran beneficiary who enrolls in the TRICARE program may not be concurrently enrolled in the system of patient enrollment under subsection, and the secretary may not furnish medical care to the covered veteran beneficiary under this chapter or other provision of law administered by the secretary while the covered veteran beneficiary is so enrolled in the TRICARE program. Okay, so basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, and you have to do your own research, okay? But if I'm understanding this correctly, I think what they're talking about is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. So basically saying like Veterans Health Administration would not be able to be involved in the veterans healthcare whatsoever while they're enrolled in the TRICARE program. And so basically takes the Veterans Health Administration 100% out of the equation for the veteran. Now, for some people, that would be the perfect thing. Um, I feel like if I were having to 100% rely on Veterans Health Administration for my healthcare, I had no other options whatsoever. Like right now, I feel like that could be the perfect thing for me. However, one of the concerns I have is the cost sharing. Like, how much is this going to cost for God's sakes? And one of the concerns I have is that the money allotted for veterans healthcare is going to be minimized and then the veterans financial burden increased, and now you got all these veterans with these military related health issues that cannot afford to take care of their health care. And I'm really worried about like a bait and switch here where it's like, oh, you get a choice, but then it's like, oh, but now we're going to stick you with the bill. Bye, best of luck to you. And I always feel and see that that is constantly happening where it's like more of the financial burden is being stuck to military veterans and the military community members, and there's always people making money off of us, and we're viewed as dollar signs, hence where I came up with that artwork. And I view that as a huge problem. Okay, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs and Secretary of Defense shall enter into a memorandum of understanding under which the Secretary of Veterans Affairs reimburses the Secretary of Defense for the cost of enrolling covered veteran beneficiaries in the TRICARE program pursuant to the amendments made by subsection as jointly determined appropriate by the Secretaries. So who knows what that would even mean? I mean, one thing I know for sure is Veterans Health Administration and the organization aren't going to be thrilled about having to give up any money. So, so like, and then of course, like the other, head leader of the government organization is not not going to want to pay out any money, out of their budget. 'Cause we're talking about budgets here, and like I know for sure that people are sensitive about their money. Basically saying there's been like a 1-year period where like the leaders of the different organizations are going to have to come together and like come up with a plan, and that there'll be a phase-in period for enrollment of covered veterans. On page 5 it talks about that, and it says in accordance with the annual open enrollment season of the TRICARE program. Also mentions a VA Center for Innovation for Care and Payment. is that basically reports will have to be done every so often about the status of that. But I'm always skeptical of stuff like that because I've just noticed how Congress doesn't do a very good job supervising many things, to include the existing legislation of Veterans Health Administration. Because if they did, they would understand it's not being enforced as it is. That is like, for 6 pages, not a lot of answers to my questions. And I think, how much is this going to cost the military community members that are eligible for these healthcare services? How much is this going to cost them? That is the number one question I have, and it has not been answered. And so it is a concern of mine that, that's not made clear. And also, I thought it might be something where you could do, like, choose to do that or choose to do the other, not one or the other. And also, even if you should, what side you want to do, the TriCare Select option, it sounds like it could take months and months and months and months and months for them to get you in. So if you're trying to get healthcare, it seems like this could take forever. So anyways, given the fact that I've continued to deal with one issue after the other with Veterans Health Administration and continue to right now, I'm just very curious about upcoming legislation related to the organization, what this is going to look like, what it's going to entail. I hope it's something good, but only time will tell. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here, but I want to remind you to visit store.hellovanessamedia.com and utilize the 20% off code for launch, to celebrate the launch of the new store, which I've been working on for a while now, and I'm super excited about. There'll be new products and great new things coming out regularly. I plan to update the store. The launch code is only good for a super limited amount of time. I'm planning on putting the exact dates of that in the description below here. But it will have expired before Thanksgiving. Before. Okay, so I just want to let you know that and remind you of that. So before Thanksgiving, it will have expired. All right. I wish you all the best.